Oh boy. Hey guys. Another disappointing week. So the game just ended a little while ago. I had to collect my thoughts because I was agitated and people blowing up my phone and just ugh. Anyway, Eagles Giants just ended a little while ago. Did not end well for the Philadelphia Eagles. Posted a video at halftime saying that this was one of the more bizarre games I'd seen them play this year. It's being that it wasn't that they were playing horrible. There was some blown coverages and whatnot on the defensive side of the ball. Some missed opportunities on the offensive side of the ball. Special teams was broke open a big run for Darren Sproles there, but allowed New York to block a field goal. Eagles did not do any capitalizing on any good situations today. They didn't capitalize. Darren Sproles gets them down within, inside the red zone of the Giants, and I think that was the drive where the field goal was blocked. So all that work and that great special teams play for nothing. Couple interceptions that the Eagles get today that turned into nothing, especially there at the end of the game. That is the rookie stuff that's occurring for this team right now. Is good things happen and you don't capitalize. Those are the rookie things that are happening for this team right now. It doesn't mean we're playing horrible. Again, at the end of the game, the Eagles weren't playing horrible. They drove the ball down, had some opportunities. I blame a lot of this on the coaching and the play calling today. They finally get it to where they're calling downfield plays today, but not enough. And when push came to shove, there were times where teams or the players still weren't executing. Nelson Agholor complained over this week about people calling you out for drop passes. You don't care about drop passes. You're going to just go out and do your job. Well, you didn't go out and do your job again today. Dropped a 3rd and 9 pass. Eagles come back on 4th and 9, go for it, complete the pass to get the first down. And then the very next play, or it may have been 2 plays after that, but it was one of the very next plays, Carson Wentz throws the ball to Agholor over on the right side of the field. You catch it, take a step, get hit by the defender, and drop the ball and lose the 3 yards that you had gained. So, Nelson Agholor, I'm done listening to what you have to say until you can start proving yourself. You had a couple good plays. You had a great catch there towards the end of the game to get a first down when we had intercepted the ball and we're working back to try and take the lead. You had a nice catch there. There was a penalty on that, but they declined it because you had a nice play. Defense, man. Jalen Mills, you're still horrible. You got damn lucky on one play where Odell Beckham had you beat horribly. Stutter step, took off, ran right by you, and he was at least 4 yards past you. The only thing that saved you on that play was the fact that Eli Manning was Eli Manning for 2 seconds and overthrew Odell. That's the only reason he didn't score on that play. Not because you got back in coverage, not because you had anything to do with the play, but simply because Eli overthrew him. Otherwise, you'd have been beat for another score. So here are my thoughts. My thoughts are going to go mostly to a lot of what I've been seeing and hearing from people on social media, on Twitter, other videos, and to everyone who is saying game over, season over. Stop. Just stop. Season's not over. There's 4 losses. 4 losses. There's 16 games in a season that we play. If all you have is 4 losses, that means you get 12 wins. Now, I'm not sitting here claiming that the Eagles are going to win out with the way they've been playing. I'm not saying that at all. However, there's a lot of football left to be played, and if by some weird miracle the Eagles were able to get to a 12-4 record, I would almost be willing to guarantee you would be a playoff spot and a home playoff game. So with that being said, the season is not by any. We've played half of our games. Okay, and the season is not over. Did they play well today? No. Did they deserve to get beat? Probably. But here's the thing, and I am a couple seconds I'm going to rag on the refs again, and I invite anybody to get in there and say, oh, quit blaming the refs. I'm not blaming the refs. Let me say right here, right now, before I even talk about the refs, I am not blaming the refs for a loss. It is no excuse to lose a game, the referees. However, I'll get into them in a minute. But for anybody who's going to want to comment on that, bring it on. It happened in my last week's video. We'll just deal with that in a minute. But Eagles' biggest problem today was the Eagles. They were causing their own problems. They just were not capitalizing when they had opportunities presented to them. So, I think the biggest flaw today was the play calling. I didn't have a problem with Doug Peterson going for it on fourth down. That's not where I had the problem. The problem that I had was the plays he kept calling to try and get the first down. When you're at, fourth and like less than a yard, I don't know why you aren't pounding like a Ryan Matthews up the middle. Why are you trying to swing somebody outside? The one time they did it, they tried to fake it, and Carson ran outside and got destroyed. The next time, they had Sproles kind of fall up the middle, and he fell short. If you're going to run the ball up the middle, you need to have the guy with the muscle for the short yardage situation, and that to me is Ryan Matthews. Yeah, I don't think they played him very much. I think I only saw his name called a couple times this game. But if you're going to go for it on fourth down, I'd love to see you at least with the right play calls. You can sit back and you can say, oh, we should have gone for the field goals that would have given us the 6 extra points, that would have given us the win, or what. You can sit there and complain about that. But at the time when they're going for it, you don't know that that's going to be the situation. Okay? So you can't say that, well, we should have done this, we should have done that. The fact of the matter is, the going for it on fourth down, I don't mind being aggressive in those situations, especially when it's short yardage. I mind the play calling. And I don't think 3 or 4 times today Doug Peterson called that run option where Carson it's designed for him to keep it, and he runs with it, and it wasn't working. After the second time it didn't work, like for zero production, I would have said, all right, that's not going to work today. But yet he ran it a couple more times. Don't run that stupid play. I don't know what... Somebody commented on Twitter they didn't know what the Eagles saw in the film study that made them think that Carson was going to be able to run the ball against the Giants. And I agree. I don't know what they were seeing that made them think that play was effective, but after running it twice and it not working, don't run it anymore. I mean, if you run it once and it doesn't get anything and you try it again and you're able to get something out of it, all right, yeah, maybe keep it tucked in your back pocket. But when you've run it twice and it's given you negative yards both times, you should scratch that play off of your call sheet. And then just some of the decision making too. Like a couple of my tweets were, at the end of the first half, where the Eagles just kept taking shots at the end zone. They had a minute and a half left. Like they were in Giant territory, and I was trying to figure out why they just kept taking shots at the end zone. I'm like, they do realize they have time to work with, right? They have time and they have some timeouts. Why are they just taking shots at the end zone? Why are we not working the ball down the field? But no, we didn't do that. We didn't do that. So then in the second half, I was like, especially when it got down to under 4 minutes, it's like 3:51, and the Eagles are punting on a fourth down play. I'm like, they do realize they're running out of time, right? And they're still down 8 points, I think it was at the time. So or maybe that was when they kicked the field goal. I just, the questionable play calling is what got me, for us, on our downfall today. And then when presented with opportunities, because hell, we knew we had opportunities. We did have opportunities, and we just did not execute during those opportunities. So here we're going to go to my beef with the refs, and this is all over the league. Let me state this first and foremost so that I don't get people complaining and whining at me. Well, you should never complain about the refs. It didn't cost you the game. It went both ways. That's exactly my point. The bad play call, or the bad officiating that's going on all over the league several times today. A blatant pass interference that was not called against Bryce Treggs. A blatantly obvious. It was when the Eagles were driving down to try and take the lead at the end of the game. Defense comes in and hits Carson Wentz in the head. Made contact to his helmet. Any other quarterback, that gets called. I've seen less than that called. I've seen just a bump on the head called. It's a contact in the helmet. Hands came in and clearly hit the helmet. And even Troy Aikman, who I can't stand, said, I think Carson's got a point there. He was hit in the head. I don't understand why that wasn't called. And I'm not saying it scores the points. It doesn't score any touchdown for him. It doesn't win the game for them. So I'm not saying by getting that call the Eagles would have won, but it extends the drive, and I don't understand why it wasn't called. There are just so many bad calls today, and it's all over the league. It's getting ridiculous. I had 2 or 3 tweets that I put out there to the NFL saying, please, I'm begging you, look into this. Get these guys fixed. This is bad. It's getting blatantly worse every week. And if they aren't going to start trying to improve, I mean, every year they look at rules, they change rules here, they change rules there, they make adjustments, they say, here's what this rule means, here's what that rule means. They adjust things, they fix wording so that it's very clear what the rules are. And then calls just aren't made. At the beginning of the year, it was all about making all these personal unsportsmanlike conduct calls. Why? So that they could then announce if they get another call of this nature, it's an automatic ejection, because that's the new rule. 2 unsportsmanlike penalties and you're out of the game. So I don't know if it's the refs just wanted to put that to the test and they just started calling these unsportsmanlike conducts. Now, and for the first, I think today was the first time Travis Kelce of the Kansas City Chiefs got ejected for 2 unsportsmanlike conducts. On the same play, by the way. The officiating, which I'm not saying that was a bad or a wrong thing. But there are a lot of missed calls all over the place. There's a lot of bad calls all over the place. I think the NFL just needs to look at some of this tape and start saying, guys, get with it, because this is getting bad. So next week, the Eagles have the Falcons coming up. We're in a horrible position right now, because the Eagles sit now at 4-4, dead last in the NFC East. And we have the very dangerous Atlanta Falcons coming to Philadelphia next week. I don't know what to predict for this game. I really don't, because the Eagles have been very poor against teams that should have been easy to beat, and they've been dominant over teams that should have destroyed them. So I really don't know. I'll do a preview video later this week about it. I've been following the Falcons very little. I know that Julio Jones is having an amazing year. But as far as what needs to be done, I can't say right now. It's just a horrible, horrible game. And a horrible, horrible feeling to know that we're 0-3 in the division, in a division that we normally are very strong in. I don't know. But to the fans who are saying season over, this team sucks and all this other stuff, I'm done with your nonsense. I'm done listening to the garbage. You're either a fan of this team or you're not. I'm not saying you can't be critical of this team. I'm sitting here and I've spent 15 minutes being critical of this team, saying what they did poorly. But to sit there and say this team sucks, if that's your attitude, give it up. I'm done with your pathetic excuse for trying to be a fan here, because it's horrible. This is not, all these friendly fire videos that are going out. People say, oh, you should never call out. I'm not calling out somebody's fandom. You say you want to be a fan of the team, you want to root for a team, by all means, go ahead and root for the team. But I'm done listening to the garbage and the negative talk. This team is far better than we thought they were going to be at the beginning of the year. This team is far, many more steps ahead than we thought they were going to be, with a rookie quarterback and some younger players, limited talent at receivers. Bryce Treggs comes in for the first time this week and has a pretty strong game. He had a short pass that he caught for a first down. Then he had a big 58-yard bomb. But then he was quiet. Again, that goes to play calling. But, I've been just as critical of this team as anybody else. But you will never, ever hear me say this team sucks and I can't stand being a fan of this team and, all this other stuff. And you'll never hear me get down on this season. You'll never hear me get down on this season. We're still in a good position. We're still okay. And we got some tough games coming up, but they're games that we can win. They're games we can win. So with that being said, look for a video from me later this week previewing the Falcons game. And until then, just keep the faith in this team. I'm done with the pathetic naysayers on this team. They're already so much farther ahead than I or anybody else thought they would be at this point of the year. So keep the faith, keep supporting, keep believing. This team is going to be good. The future is bright for this team. So, just keep believing. So until the next video, fly Eagles fly, go Birds, and, bring on the Falcons. Just keep believing the season's not over, because these Birds will fight until the very end, and I fully believe that. So fly Eagles fly, and we'll see you next time.